We are recording. Hope everybody's having a good start to your week. First, I want to mention one thing. I mean, we're going to go over, all the things that are going on with Bitcoin right now because it's getting more volatile, right? So that's what we're going to look at to begin with. First of all, though, I just wanted to mention for anybody watching this video, especially if you haven't seen my videos before, down here in the description, I've got links to our Discord. I've got links to the Nansen 10% off, and I've got links to how to buy Engineering Robo AI Trading View Indicator that you'll see me use in the video. So this is only if you want it. I'm not trying to sell you anything, but if you're somebody that wants one of these things, that's where you'll find it. All right, so let's jump into, this is kind of something different I haven't shown before. I think I'll start here. So currently, I want you just to understand what you're looking at here. So these are the dates. So here's the 8th up to the 14th. That's today. Basically, what this is a percentage of the altcoins that are bullish currently. And right here, we've got the 30-day above the 360-day moving average. So you've only got 12, and this is kind of more the short-term view. So over a more shorter term period, you've only got 12% of all altcoins that are listed on CoinGecko that are bullish right now. And actually the same thing for 90-day over 360. Now in the longer term, these lines take longer to cross and, move below each other, move above each other. So this is the 180-day over 360-day, and there's 21%. But I'm going to show you here, like here's the 30-day over 360. So if you had two moving averages plotted on your trading view chart or any chart, this is what you would see is, you'd see the 30-day moving, or the 30-day would still be above the 360-day, and there would only be approximately 12% of all tokens on CoinGecko that are bullish according to that indicator. So that's kind of a short-term indicator. We are down here, if you look here on Nansen's query that they have here, it says this is the entry threshold, this teal green looking line. And usually when it hits that line or gets under that line and then crosses back above it, that's a great time to buy. So it's possible that this is a perfect time to buy. I mean, we don't know yet. I'm not ever going to pretend to know everything. But we do know, just looking historically, that just look at this, let me get that off. But look how as this thing rises, I don't want to cover it up for you, but look there in 2016 to 2018 as the price rises, and then it finally hits that exit threshold at the top, the pink line up here, and then it does the same thing from 2020 to 2021. You buy here at the bottom, you sell at the top, and so we've got the same thing here. And notice how it works its way up. It's not a straight line, right? It never is a straight line. So we got the same thing here. We popped up once, popped up a second time, and hopefully what we're looking at is another push all the way up, at least close to that line. Because you can see if you were to draw a trend line here, there is a chance that it could stop somewhere in here on this next push up. But we'll just have to see. Every single cycle is different than the last, and they're going to throw curveballs at us. But we're going to do the best we can. That's things we talk about in the Discord, how to adjust to these situations. And you can even see it better. I'll show you one more chart here. But currently we are in a bull market. We still are, for anybody that has that question. Okay, here it is right here. So this is all three lines plotted. This is the 30-day over 360, 90 over 360, and 180 over 360. And notice how the purple and the blue line, like back here before the real bull market started, when it popped out of 16K Bitcoin, when it finally found the bottom. That's kind of right. When was that? I don't know. It was somewhere in here anyway. But notice how this came below the entry threshold, popped above it, found support at it, and now we're back down at that support. So notice how the purple line sometimes rejects off that blue line, and then it comes down one more time and then takes off. So just understand that could be a possibility, but I've mentioned before in previous videos that whenever the purple line gets above the blue line, the uptrend is usually already begun, the next uptrend. So hopefully that's what we're looking at, but just understand that we could have one more rejection here. And now I'm going to get into that. And let me push this to the end. I'll get into some of the Nansen things here in a bit. So this is a really bad rejection. If I go to like, what was I at before, a weekly maybe? I mean, that's bad, right? We don't want to see this. It looked like things were gonna, they faked us out basically. We are still above the 50 RSI on the weekly, that's good. This previous weekly candle, we were just flat basically right on this bullish line. Now, as long as we're above this bullish line, I feel like there's a better chance that we could get bullish. This could be a fake out up, fake out down, and then another move up. We don't know yet. We need to see how things close today, and especially how things close this week. But I don't like this, I mean, for sure, because as we were talking about yesterday, and in order to show this, I need to bring up my Twitter. Let me find, oh yeah, here it is right here. So I was just making the point that we had a rejection every single time on this line, right? I mean, even here, you've got some wicks above it. You got a couple of wicks above it here, barely one there. So yesterday it looked real good, right? This is what it looked like. This is trend line resistance. We want to see a close above it. We need a daily candle to close above it. We barely had one right here, but then it faked out. I mean, ultimately, it would be great to have a weekly, right? Why is this turning red? It's weird. Ultimately, it would be great to have a weekly candle close above it. But for now, we're actually back below it. So we just need to see what happens. One point I will make, let's see here. Well, we do have a rule in the Discord that if we get 3 consecutive buy signals, then we are risk on. And yesterday that did happen, and that's why I bought some of these tokens. I think they still look okay. I mean, they don't look terrible anyway. Yeah, I mean, SNSY and FLT, and what's the other ones I bought? MAVIA. Yeah, I mean, it still looks fine. It's got a buy signal. VPP, it's still above the support line. So I don't think that there's enough to tell us yet that, this was a fake out and things are coming down again. We really need to see what happens at the end of the day at close. Hopefully we do get back above it. We'll see. I think currently it is back above it, isn't it? No, it's below it. Is that right? Oh, it's sitting right below it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's on a 3-hour chart. That looks really bad. This rejection and then a close back below the resistance line there. So we're still above the 50 RSI on the 3 hours, so there's nothing to panic about. But that's why I want to, I'm talking about, well, let's wait till the end of the day and see what happens. So where was I? We were talking about this. Yeah, so this could be a rejection, and we'll just see how it closes. Let's see what else I want to talk about. Sorry, well, I'm not sorry, but I don't, if you see me jumping around a lot, I don't really, plan what I'm going to talk about. I just talk about it, right? Let's see if there's anything else here. I talked about GALA looking like it was going to get bullish. Yeah, so that's the case here. Let's just wait and see what happens at the end of the day, and I might make a post about that if it's, if it's worth talking about, I guess. So here on the presidential chart, I mean, it's still possible we could come down to here. I posted this the other day too, that I had actually drawn this line back on April this year, and I redrew it with straight lines because it was kind of messy with just the free drawing tool. So this is actually what it looks like. But just understand, until we break above this horizontal resistance, this line right here coming across, with a full weekly candle, and even back here it did have a couple weekly candles, but it's going to mean a lot more if it gets above it with a weekly candle, and it has to be a full candle above, but it's going to mean a lot more if it gets back above there as we get close to the election or after the election. Because remember, historically, here's our trend line, here's our trend line, here's our trend line. Historically, once this squeezes and pushes up around the election time, then it's just gone. There's no coming back. Well, no coming back until the top of the bull market. There has been situations where the pump back in 2013, it did happen after the election. Well, actually, it happened here too. It happened a little bit after the election. There was a lot of chop and a fake out right here. You know, actually, it looks similar. Look how it has those wicks right there. Maybe I need to zoom in. Look at these wicks right here where it faked out a couple times. And then even after the election, it faked out one more time. So what is that? 1, 2, 3. So 3 to 4 weeks after the election sometimes is how long it can take to really show that bullish pattern, to where you know that things are just, you know, it's ready to go. This one had a massive candle before the election. And I guess it's worth noting, well, actually, that's not, when did Trump get elected? It was 2016, wasn't it? So it's interesting that this one actually took off when Biden took office. Am I saying that right? Yeah, okay, so this was when Biden took office, 2020. Of course, they were injecting a lot of liquidity, things like that. So, I mean, it's hard to say what really caused it, but we know there's people that are in control of all this, and that's why it's hard to predict what's going to happen. I mean, some of them actually do know what's going to happen. All right, I think that's all I wanted to say on that. Let's just, you know, fly through some charts here that I think are good tokens, and I'll show you some TA stuff, some TA tricks you can use while I'm going through them. And I do have at least one person from our Discord that I'm doing a live stream for right now. It's kind of a slow day, you know, during the week. Not many people, you know, most people are at work. But let's see here. This is DEAI. If you follow somebody like Shawred on Twitter, and I'll show you. I mean, I like to call out people or shout out people that are actually good, level-headed thinkers, and, you know, don't talk about, you know, 40, 50, 100x. You know, sometimes that happens. Most of the time it's not going to happen. But, you know, you got him talking about how, let's see. Well, let's just read what he's saying here, because I do respect him. He's one of the better people on there, I believe, on Twitter. So he's saying, I believe we're on the verge of a parabolic phase dash moment we've been waiting for. Selling now for a 2 to 3x doesn't make sense, but some will get tempted and sell their high conviction bags early, chasing low caps, Ponzi, and likely lose. AI coins are about to explode. So, you know, something cool about his Twitter is that everything is themed off of Shawshank Redemption, and, you know, he'll say like day 289 almost as if he was in prison or something. It's kind of funny. But, you know, one of his favorite tokens is DEAI, and that's why I bring that one up. But check him out if you're looking for somebody else to follow. I think he's a solid person. It's at Shawred and the number 0. Let's see. So I was at DEAI. Okay, so here's what we're looking at. These purple lines are my own lines that I draw for support resistance. They're not always going to be perfect. If you like engineering robo AI, just understand that you can go down here and click this option to have your own, or to have the AI draw the support resistance levels for you. Sometimes they won't show up on the daily chart. You may have to go down to a lower time frame, like 8 hour or something. But it will kick in, I think. It depends on how old the token is. If it's a newer token, it might not show on a higher time frame. There you go, right there. So it'll show you support, resistance lines, things like that. But anyway, let's keep going here. So the trick I was talking about, I mean, you don't need any indicator if you don't want it. I've talked about this many times before. People that bought DEAI down here, you know, this is a rising wedge. Looks like it to me anyway. So you got a rising wedge, and then you got momentum on the decline, right? Now, this doesn't mean that it's just gonna, I mean, this could just be a triangle pattern for the RSI, for the momentum. This could break out to the upside again and get bullish. You know, sometimes this pattern breaks out further. We've seen it with Bitcoin before. But if you are holding this from down here somewhere, what you want to look for is if you break below the 50 RSI. And even then, sometimes it can break back above really quick. But if you break below 50 RSI and then reject, and it looks like you're going to come down further off a rejection, then that's probably where you want to get out. But so far, it looks fine. I mean, anything over 50 RSI is bullish. We know that. And you'll get people tell you on Twitter or wherever that RSI is not worth using. They're wrong. You can definitely use it. You just have to learn how to use it the correct way. All right, TITANX. This is with the engineering robo support resistance lines on. It is getting into this red area here, so it could be time to take profit. Let me go to the daily here. Yeah, I mean, it's in the overbought area. Anything over 70 RSI is overbought. So at any point, it could have a rejection and consolidate for a little while. You know, maybe look something like this. Bull flag and then take off again. As long as it's above the 50 RSI, you can keep holding. Anytime you break below the 70 RSI and reject, you could take profit there. But as far as getting out completely, I mean, it's really easy. Just watch the daily chart. As long as it's above 50 RSI, you can just stay in. That's how easy it is. So, you know, if this next uptrend takes, you know, 2, 3, 4, 6 months, who knows how long, even a year. I'm not saying that's definitely going to happen, but it could, because it has in the past. But there's a lot of factors to consider, like if unemployment rises like crazy in the U.S. while rate cuts are still happening, then we know, well, we all feel like it's already been a recession, but we know the recession is coming, and you know, we could see a situation where there's even more dilution, where they print more money, right? But at some point, the other shoe has to drop. You know, we're gonna see that rollover, and I don't know if it's gonna happen this year, first quarter next year, or a year from now. Those are the three options, though. And our Discord is gonna be ready for it one way or the other, because we're watching it every day, and we know what to watch for. But for you yourself, that's what you wanna watch for. If you see unemployment rising quickly, then that's a signal that you know, you should start watching the charts. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with TITANX, like very short term. You could have some kind of consolidation, but remember, as long as you're above 50 RSI, you're good on the daily chart. Here's SNSY. I think I bought it somewhere down in here the other day, what, 2 or 3 days ago? Well, that would have been down here, wouldn't it? To be honest, it's not the greatest place to buy. What I look for is I want to buy as close to these support lines as I can. You really don't want to be buying as it goes into a resistance area. But, you know, it's hit this enough times that I think it could be ready to push up to TP1. We'll just have to see. I'm still above 50 RSI, so I'm holding it. No worries there. FLT, I actually did buy this one as it went into resistance, which is, it's just, like I said, it's not a smart thing to do. And it has a sell signal currently. So if you're using engineering robo and you see this, it's a very risky thing to do. But I think at the time, I want to say it was maybe this candle right here. I thought maybe this would hold. And the accurate thing that I should have done was just to get out of it if a daily candle closed below it. But I stayed in. We're back above. If it was to have a daily candle below this again, I'd probably get out. But, you know, we're above 50 RSI. Very risky play. We'll see if it turns into a buy signal. But, you know, if you're using engineering robo, or if you're in our Discord and you're watching this, where is it at? If you're watching this automated channel that we have, at the end of the day, at close, it will tell you if there's a buy or sell signal for, I think we're tracking like 150 tokens that we like. So if you see that, then you just react accordingly. If it's a buy signal, you buy. If it's a sell signal, you sell. Now, there is one caveat to that. If you get a massive candle up or down, you can wait a day or two and see if it gets, you know, see if it, well, not rejects, but see if it consolidates somewhere. This would have faked you out for sure on this one, even with the engineering robo. But let's just say it pops up and then it comes down. Here's a really good example, actually. Here's a big candle into resistance. It came down about 50% or maybe to the golden pocket, and then it started moving back up. Now, it did eventually reject, but my point is that you don't have to buy the day that there's a buy signal. If you want to wait a day or two and just see what it does, you can always do that. Because these are more long-term signals, I guess, you know, that's the way you should look at it. A daily chart is more long-term signal. What do we have here? BOSON. I really want to buy BOSON soon. My issue with it is that it's currently below the 50 RSI on the, oh, that's the weekly. Hang on. Yeah, it is below the 50 on the daily as well. technically it's right to buy it here based on my support line or my bullish line right here. So I started to buy it last night actually, but maybe I'll just wait till the end of the day, see what happens. I mean, that's really the goal for you, whether you use an engineering robo or if you're doing your own analysis using RSI or something, or if you're just watching my charts. I've got all these charts saved on our spreadsheets or in our long-term, where's it at? Yeah, long-term plays right here. So you can click any of these chart links and immediately get access to my saved chart and see where the bullish line is, you know, like CSPR right here. I warned a lot of people CSPR was going to dip, and I doubt many people listened, but and there were other people talking about it as well. I can't remember who it was, but you know, lower highs, you got to break below the bullish line now. The only reason I felt like CSPR was going to dip is because if you remember back in 2021, yeah, on Bitcoin, you're getting less and less momentum. So you've got a higher high here. This higher high was marginally higher, marginally higher, marginally higher, and then finally it rolls over from here and you get a lower high. I mean, CAS was just been up only, right? So anybody that's been holding from down here, what are you doing? You know, take some profits. So you're currently under 50 RSI. If this is a token you hold, I mean, it's up to you. I'm not telling you what to do, and this is definitely not financial advice, but if you see it come up here to 50 RSI and it rejects again, I think it's another warning sign. So you may have another chance to get out. But anyway, you know, it could take off again. I'd be surprised if it did. I just think that it needs some consolidation time. I'm not saying it's a bad token or a bad project. I'm just saying that, you know, I've still got TP1, TP2 up here that it could still hit, maybe even TP3. Well, actually, I've got a $4.50 TP4 up there as well. But that's kind of a moonshot type thing. Anyway, I mean, if it gets back above the bullish line, then yeah, it could go. I'm not saying I know for sure, but it just looked like it could reject. Okay, I didn't mean to get into that one. Where were we at? SNSY, FLT, and I'll get into y'all's questions here in just a second, guys, the ones that are here for the live stream. So yeah, BOSON, it would be actually correct, even though it's just barely under the 50 RSI on the daily, technically correct to buy here. And the reason why you want to do that and buy as close to these lines as you can, even if there's a sell signal, is because you're limiting your risk. So let's just say, well, number one, let's say if you buy here and it goes up, great. But let's say if it breaks below, and I mean a full daily candle here, I need to see a full, I'm not talking about wicks or anything, I'm just talking about, this is not going to be the greatest candle, but if a candle closes below here where the body of the top and the bottom is below the line, then you just get out. And then if for some reason it just pops right back above and has a full daily candle above, then you get back in. And look how much you're risking there. Where's my thing? Here it is. So let's say you buy here, it comes down and it closes. You're risking about 10%. It's not bad at all. Now let's say on the flip side, you bought somewhere here in no man's land, and then now you're going to lose 50% if it comes down to here. So that's the reasoning for it, to try to buy as close to these lines as you can. And then you want to sell usually at these resistance lines. So let's say if you sold, let's see if we got a good example here. Okay, here we go. So let's say you bought here. I mean, you could have even bought up here somewhere because you did get a full candle above, but let's say you even waited to see if it was going to reject down here, and you could have bought down there as well. And then up here, you sold somewhere near this line, even before the sell signal. You could have done that. You know, as soon as it touched that line with that wick, or maybe this wick, you could have sold. Now, yes, it did close a daily candle above, and you could have bought that. You know, you could have rebought back in with your profits. But when it, you know, when it closed a daily candle back below, you could have just gotten out, and you would have saved yourself this right here. Now here, you know, it's tough because even on a daily chart, you know, you may want to just hold through. You know, you may see things are bullish with Bitcoin and you just want to keep holding. In that case, if you really just want to keep holding, then what you want to do is go to a weekly chart. So let's say you buy on a daily chart and you sell on a weekly chart. So here you wouldn't have sold because everything's still a buy signal. And notice how this rejected right at the TP1. It just depends on how you want to do it. I can't tell you how to do it, but these are some different ways that you could do it. The weekly is going to give you a buy signal much later than the daily. Daily gave it way back here, I believe. So just understand, the higher you go on your time frame, the more it's going to lag, and the later you actually get in and the later you get out. I mean, look how far down the sell signal is. But then the lower you go on your time frame, the more it's going to chop. So you just have to follow the buy and sell signals, or you use the lines here. Just think about how you want to do it, because it's up to you. See how much chop we're getting here now. You could buy and sell every single one of these, but you're going to take small losses. Just understand that. Okay, GALA, I mentioned this one to the, to both Discord and Twitter. The thing that I saw on it, and it's probably going to be hard to see here, money flow has gone to green on the weekly, which hasn't happened in a very long time. So that kind of gives me hope that maybe the real uptrend is here, possibly. But again, could happen 3 to 4 weeks after the presidential election. TokenFi, I really want to buy this one. This is run by the team that runs Floki. And to be honest, it didn't do a really big move. Let's see. Oh, okay, so this one actually launched after the October move. So it hasn't had a big move yet. But if we take just the buy signal up to resistance, it's about a 7x. It's not great compared to some of the other ones. There was some like GLQ that did 40x in October last year. So I'm hopeful that this one still has its big move in it. But the only reason I have a little bit of confidence in it is because it's run by the Floki team, and they're pretty good. But to me, this looks like it is, it's kind of squeezing here. I don't know, something like that. I mean, this is a deviation. I don't know, it's something like that. These lines are never going to be perfect. You just have to do your best you can with them and just try to find the pattern. So what I'm looking for, I think what we can wait for actually is, let's just see if it gets above the bullish line with a daily candle. We may miss a little bit of a move there, but that's not that big of a deal. We want to lower our risk here. So number one, not only would it break out of the triangle, but it would also break above the bullish line. So that's a very key point where these two converge that would give us a lot of confidence, right? And the reason why this is a bullish line is because this was resistance previously, turned to support. It did get back below it. Here was some support here too. But that's why I think we'll have a lot of confidence, if it was to come up here and bounce, then that that's looking good. Okay, MAVIA, I bought this one yesterday. Here's a really good example, right? We were just talking about this. So big candle, it kind of pumped with Bitcoin yesterday. Now we're getting a 50% retracement off of that candle, just that single candle. Still above 50 RSI, still got a buy signal. There is some sort of like temporary resistance in here. So it could definitely just chop in here for a while. Maybe I should have waited, I don't know. But I did like that it was a buy signal. I was underexposed on gaming tokens, and so I just went ahead and bought it yesterday. So this is just a point I'm making, that if you're watching engineering robo signals, it's okay to wait a day and see if it's going to get that 50% rejection. Just understand that sometimes it could leave you. So I'd say 50% of the time you're going to get a pullback. The next day, 50% of the time, it's just going to keep going. There's no way to know one way or the other. And I will end on this one, and then we'll get to the questions in the live stream for our Discord members. The reason I bought VPP yesterday is, number one, I like the leadership of the token, trying to push for some kind of poker. They had to fight through poker regulation and all that. So hopefully, poker can come back one day online. But for now, they have a platform where you can go and you and your friends can have a cash game, or whatever it is, and you can use any token. Like, as far as I understand, you can use any token that's available. You just have to provide the token as the prize money for whatever tournament you're setting up. And I think they have sit and go tournaments, stuff like that. So if you like poker, check out Virtue Poker online. But as far as the chart goes, if we go down here to the daily, it did have a buy signal yesterday. I mean, it's not great because it's under the 50 RSI, but I'm trying to buy as close to this support line as I can. So even though it did a fake, came back down, the reason why this is important is because, that's why I had it on the weekly chart. You've got a lot of support that's been holding here. It did have a deviation below, but you've got a lot of support right here, back from 2023. So, this could be the bottom. We'll just have to see. And yes, it's under the 50 RSI on the weekly. It's under the 50 RSI on the daily. So technically, it's not the greatest buy, if you're not considering these lines. But if a daily candle closes below, I'll just get out, right? It's no big deal. It's maybe a 10 to 20% loss. And then if it gets back above, I'll just buy back in. So I'm limiting my risk is what I'm looking to do. All right, let's get to the questions. Okay, Epi, do you place any credence in MACD? Have been watching 4-hour charts and crosses of the signal line to the up or downside. And it does seem to indicate a buy or sell. Yeah, I mean, for sure, MACD works. I think in my case, I've just chosen to use RSIs. You really don't want too many of these. Let's see, what do we want to use it on? I mean, we can use it on a token that's already moved and just see what happened before it moved, just to kind of look as an example. And we won't spend too much time on it. Okay, here's MACD. I'll close that. So here's our buy signal. I guess this was kind of the first warning that things were probably going to start getting bullish soon. But really what you want to look for, of course, is you want to see all these green bars coming up. The cross of the lines, you got a fast line and a slow line. The fast one, I think it's the blue one. Can't tell here. Yeah, the blue one's the fast line. I don't know what they use. It may be based on RSI or something. I'm not sure. But anyway, you usually do want to see these lines cross up, and you want to see some green there for sure. I mean, most people know how to use this, but really the best time to buy is usually when it's still in the red here, and it's starting to trend back up to cross that median line there. So you can see that Engineering Robo gave a perfect signal there. Sell signal was perfect there as well. This one, I mean, looks like Engineering Robo probably waited for the line to get back above the 0 line, but back here was probably a better entry. It's never going to be perfect. But yeah, I mean, MACD, RSI, a lot of them work. And if you become a master at using them, you'll make a lot of money for sure. And people want to talk down about some of these indicators that are free, and I just don't understand why. They do work. It's really the user more than anything. You just got to get good at it. But yeah, I mean, if we just bring that up and see, you got a pretty good gap between these two lines right now. Things are very bullish with TITANX, obviously. If you move down to a 3-hour, this is where things get a little bit dicey. But remember, things are going to chop a lot more on a lower time frame. So it's just barely into the red here. Let's see what Engineering Robo shows. So it's not showing a sell signal yet, even though the 0 line has been crossed. It looks like it could be crossing down. Could be rolling over here. And I'm trying to remember what this pattern is. This pattern looks really familiar. I'd have to go back and find it on Bitcoin's chart or something. I mean, I used to get down to like a 15-minute chart on stuff like this and really study this stuff, but it just chops so much at really low time frames that it's not worth it. But look at this. I mean, you want to talk about Engineering Robo, other methods to use within it. Here it is doing an auto support resistance line. And look, you're getting a perfect rejection yesterday. I mean, that's what do they call that? A dragonfly doji, gravestone doji? Yeah, gravestone. So you got a couple different rejections here. I could definitely see this rolling over at least back to this support line. What would that be? I don't know, 30%. Well, 23%. Could even come down to here because a lot of the support's back down here. So yeah, I mean, if you're holding this, you could take a chance to take some profit here, but it's risky, if you're wanting to hold it longer term. But if you're more of a short-term trader, or you're just trying to get in and out, get some profits, and then buy this back if it dips, that's fine. But remember, if you take profit, you've got to know where to buy back, you know, have a method in place to know where to buy. And Engineering Robo would be one. So if you had your support resistance lines set up, well, not set up, because you don't actually have to draw these yourself, you just click this button. So here on the 3 hour, what I would be looking for is, if I took profits here, I would buy back here. And if a daily candle closed below, or even a 3 hour candle closed below, because you want to use, you know, as far as what you're using, the time frame. So you'd be looking for a 3 hour candle closed below here. Then if you bought here, you just get out, you know, if it closed below the line, and then you'd buy back here again. So it's really simple, but you have to have the time to invest in it. If you don't have the time, then I wouldn't suggest playing around with stuff like this. I would just, you know, play the daily chart, either play the signals or, you know, base it off my lines or something. There's no guarantee that it's going to hit the TP1 right away. I mean, it could reject here, and like we were talking about, consolidate for a little while and then hit TP1. But if you're a longer term holder and you got kids and you got a job and you just don't have time, then you want to play the longer term game. Okay, and then Epi wants to look at CATALORIAN. I don't remember, did I save that one? All right, here's the daily. I don't have any lines on this one, but we can look at what Engineering Robo is showing us. Is it working? Oh, it's still, there we go. So this one is too new. I would actually have to go down to a 3 hour, I think, to get our signals. And that's a pretty big rejection right there. That's an engulfing candle. And you're hitting this resistance right here. There's a resistance line that Engineering Robo has. So see how it works? I mean, you got that perfect rejection yesterday, actually 2 days ago, and all these wicks keep hitting here. You know, normally wicks to the downside mean people are buying. Well, you know, wicks to the upside mean they want to take profits there. So if you're holding this one, you could take a chance of taking some profit here. I mean, there's even a line, like if you drew this line, something like that. I don't know, that's not perfect, but you know, if you got a candle close below a line like that, then that could be a signal to take profits as well. But just understand that sometimes these things can fake down and then take off again. Let me see if the AI take profit signal is showing anything. It should show one here if it's actually working on the 3 hour. I guess it's not. You may have to go down to a 1 hour on it. Yeah, I mean, the further you go down, it's so choppy. I mean, you're not going to be able to. Yeah, it had a take profit signal there. I don't know. I really wouldn't go lower than a 3 hour, even on a new token. So this still looks good. You could wait for the sell signal, but I don't have 3 hour sell signal set up. All of these in this channel right here, all of these are just you know, daily charts. So it's for longer term holds. But I could, like I said, I could definitely see this coming back down to here at minimum from this point, just because of all this rejection. Yeah, SNSY I talked about. Where is it at? I mean, this could be a rejection too. You know, we don't know just yet, but you know, there's some what am I thinking? Candle wicks right at that resistance line that I had drawn. What did the 3 hour show yesterday? I think it's still bullish even on 3 hour. Yeah. So for me, it's still a hold. I do like checking 3 hour every once in a while, just to you know, see what the short term view is. And the other cool thing about Engineering Robo is you have this dashboard that you can bring up, and everything is either bullish or neutral with this one right now. So there's really no reason to sell it, in my opinion. But you know, it is a little bit sketchy because we're up here. This is more no man's land because you're right up against resistance. This is a much better buy down here. You know, you want to buy at support. So we'll see what happens with it. I'll keep watching it. And then we talked about TITANX. So CSPR we can look at. Casper Labs. Okay, we'll look at the OKEX, I guess. I like to start with weekly just to see what the chart looks like first. And remember, we talk about the 30-70 rule. Well, you've got on the weekly, you've got a 30 cross down on the RSI, and it looks like it's coming back up to retest that. So this could be a good buy. Of course, this is the weekly chart. We need to look at others. But remember the 30-70 rule, you know, here's your 30 back here, there's your 70. This could have been a nice profit. It doesn't always work perfectly though. Daily does have a buy signal, so that's good. My only issue with this, you know, if I had some support down here on the left, you know, always look left on these charts, I'd feel a lot better about this being something that would hold. It's just hard to say right now what it's going to do. I would just play it like this. Let's see. Where do I want to put my support? Yeah, something like that. So it is, I mean, technically this would be a good place to buy, really. Just call this your support line and say, okay, if it stays above this line, I'm good. But if it gets below, what is that, 1128 or so? So if you get a daily candle close below 1128, I think that's pretty close. I mean, you could even bring it down a little bit. You could say 1100, because there's a lot of wicks right here. So a full daily candle below, you might want to get out of it. But again, I mean, it's not a bad place to buy at all if you like this token. Yeah, you're welcome, no problem. Let's see, apparently CSPR, one of the very few showing 30 RSI on the weekly. Yeah, I mean, it seems like a lot of, let's just see here. VPP was another one that was very, well, I would say very bearish. I mean, it did have a huge move here. And anytime you get these huge moves, we know it has to consolidate a little while after that. So I could still see VPP, you know, bouncing like this and then taking off. Let's see what MAVIA shows. It's too new to really see much history there. I think BOSON maybe, yeah. So BOSON did hit its 30 RSI, but this would have been back before that October push up. Actually, this was one of the first movers out of that. And this is, I think this is important actually. So first movers are really important. TITANX was a first mover in this most recent move up, you know, for alts. Of course, you know, again, 12 to 13% of the alts are bullish. The rest aren't yet anyway. So finding the first movers is really important. And that's what I was talking about here with BOSON. So the major push for all altcoins were, you know, rising tides lift all boats, where all the alts were pushing was October. It might have been, let's see, what is it, September, October? I think that's how it goes. Yeah. So late September could have been when some of the alts were taken off. But look at this for BOSON. It actually started getting bullish and finding its support, finding its bottom in early September, or if you even want to say late August. So what would that tell us? It's possible that BOSON could be one of the big movers in this next uptrend as well, because it's had its time to consolidate. Possibly, let's see, that would have been April. Really strong coin either way, but you can see this was resistance for a while, and then it finally broke through it, and now it's trying to find it as support. So the question here is it going to hold this, number one? It needs to. That would be great if it did. I mean, it could even come down to here, 2470, but it can't get below that. But the question is, does it consolidate first and then go, or does it get bullish, you know, all of a sudden once Bitcoin breaks out? And that's a really important point I want to make as well. Oh wow, this popped right back above. So there's a chance that this could have been a fake out back down. We'll just have to see. A lot of people are thinking this is a bull trap, and I'm not opposed to that. It could be, because I'm, like I've said over and over, until 3 or so weeks after the election, I think things are still up in the air. We don't know for sure if this is the real move. What was I going to say about this? I kind of lost my train of thought. Anyway, here's what I'm looking at. As long as it's bullish above this line, that's good. If it's above this trend line, that's really good. And then this is what we have to tackle going forward. So this is the value area high of this whole move. This is the point of control. This is where most of the trading happens between bears and bulls. It's just a fight, right? It's like a tug of war. And currently the bulls are winning this tug of war. But this is what I was going to talk about. It has to get above that value area high and break the all-time high in order for us to say, yeah, this uptrend's happening 100%. And then what are the targets we're looking at? I would say 105 to 115,000 Bitcoin is probably the place to start watching. Could go much higher, but I think that's the first place to start watching for a temporary pullback. It really just depends on what unemployment's doing and all that stuff. We'll keep looking at it within our group. Okay, so we were talking about that. Oh, monthly? Yeah, CSPR or CSPR, Casper. Where's that? I don't think I looked at the monthly on that, did I? Oh yeah, it's been pretty flat, true. But remember that your higher time frames, they just lag so much. And this one is not a token that has been through a full cycle, so there's really not a lot of history on RSI. But yeah, I mean, it's holding that RSI pretty well, even on the monthly. I think the one that's the most telling is probably the weekly, because you got below it, and the accurate time to be buying is when, if you get below the 30 RSI and then it closes back above it, that's usually a good time to buy. So this is still really, as far as price action goes, this is still a good time to buy. And you're lowering your risk. That's a great thing that you're able to buy near a support line. And then if you get that daily candle close below, then just get out. If it gets back above it, get back in. It's going to move at some point, right? We just don't know. I mean, it's been bearish for a long time, so you don't want to catch a falling knife, definitely. There is reason to believe that could be support, though. Okay, how many minutes have we been going here? I got to bring up my thing. Okay, we've been going about 47 minutes, but let me just look into, I don't want to make this too long. Let's just look and see if there are any big smart money purchases here. If you don't have Nansen, you can get this for free, by the way. And I'll always promote that. I'll always let you know what the free things are, because I know not everybody has a lot of money to put in this stuff. But if you do have the money, these are good tools to use. So, again, in the description below, you'll see links to Nansen. If you want to join our Discord, we go over all this most days. So you don't have to buy these other things if you don't want them. You just join our Discord. But then also Engineering Robo is the indicator I've been showing. And I say that to help you. I don't say it to sell you on it. Just remember that. I'm trying to help. Let's see. So this was one we talked about in Discord today. PEIPEI. It's that real estate token, kind of real world asset narrative. It looks like a lot of smart money's coming in, but I think what really happened is it was just it was Arrington Capital moving some tokens around or something. I don't know. It didn't look like a real purchase to me, and price didn't reflect it either. Price didn't even go up. So, if that much money came in, you'd see a big candle, and we didn't see that. But it could be the bottom for it, right? I mean, it could be forming a bottom if you like that token. PEIPEI, let's look at that one. Typically what we look at, just so, if you're not familiar with my channel, what we look for is to see what smart money's doing. And that allows us to find tokens that are very interesting to other people, that are good at trading. They have these 50% or more win-loss rates. A lot of them have made over $1 million profit, and you can actually see it in their wallets. So that's the first step, and then maybe we look at my support resistance lines that I set up, or we look at what Engineering Robo is showing, and it gives us extra confidence. So that's kind of the 1-2 punch in our Discord, and what makes us so successful. And back last year we weren't even using Engineering Robo, and we still had a couple 40x plays and some other things. BOBO maybe seeing some resurgence. I mean, I'm on page 2 here, and there's not much smart money. I've talked about it before, how usually you want to see these numbers on page 2 be in the 50,000 range or more. So, you know, to me, it says that smart money is really not buying much right now, although they might have been a couple of days ago. Here's a smart money trader that bought 96,000 of PEIPEI, I think. You have to go in here and verify, because sometimes it could just be them transferring tokens from one wallet to another. Let's see if that's the case. No, they actually bought it. Okay. Let's see, 9,000. Yeah. So anytime you see the Uniswap universal router here, the liquidity pool. Yeah, I think that's the liquidity pool for it. It does look like they have been buying it. You know, they've been trading USDT for PEIPEI. So for those that like BOBO, there you go. Smart Money does seem interested in it, and we can always go here. There's some really nice features that and upgrades that Nansen has been putting together. I'm really impressed that they're, you know, constantly active trying to do this stuff to make things better for us. But there you go. A couple of people have been buying BOBO there. Overall, the total balance of holdings over all Smart Money wallets has been going down, but you can see the new wallets, the fresh wallets, it seems like it's held steady and maybe ticking up a little recently. Now this is a 70 million market cap token. I think I'd have to verify that by going to Coin Market Cap, but just understand with these that this is a higher cap. I mean, it's not even over 100 million, right? So it's really considered a low cap still. But if you're wanting something that hasn't moved much, then you may want to look at something under 10 million market cap for a meme coin. But this is an established one. It has kind of a cult-like following. That's what you want to look for. What else did I want to say? Yeah, so the P&L leaderboard, that's something new with Nansen. So if you like some of these things, if you like how the dashboard looks, you may want to look into Nansen. I do have that 10% discount, but you have to buy the yearly to get it. So you can see here that, what can I sort this by? Okay, this is sorted by total P&L. So this is actually realized, this person has made 581,000 on BOBO. So in this case, what you could do, and you can actually hover over any of these at the same time. This is an upgrade as well that Nansen did, and see their win rate and their net worth. But you could go in here and see what their activity is. See if they're still buying BOBO, see if they still hold BOBO. Right there, they made 77x off of it. They still hold 500 billion tokens worth over oh wait, is that right? Yeah, over 500,000, okay. They hold MOG. I mean, you can see other tokens they hold too, so it's very useful in that regard as well. They have $11 million in their wallet. You know, I don't know why they're not labeled as smart money. That's kind of weird. Maybe Nansen will label them as smart money next month. Okay, yeah, so let's just end it there. Like I said, I don't want to make it too long. I like to keep it under 50 minutes if I can. I don't want to wear you down. Just understand that there are some really nice features in Nansen. If you're in our group, you don't have to have Nansen. You don't have to have Engineering Robo. You know, if you join our Discord, we'll talk about those things, or you can ask questions. But if you're the type of person that likes to do your own research, if you like to trade in and out a lot, and you'd like to get your own signals quicker, you know, sometimes it may take an hour or two for me to respond, but usually I'll respond pretty quick. But we have some great people in the Discord also, and you know, they like to help each other. We just want to see each other make money. So anyway, I'll end it there. Yeah, you're welcome, Epi. Thank you all for joining the live stream, those of you from the Discord. And yeah, we'll just see, let's just look real quick. Okay, so it's kind of just, you know, we had a big pump, came down. It's kind of just right in the middle right now, but we are above the trend line currently. So we'll see what happens by the end of the day. That's what I'm going to be looking for. I'll update probably Twitter, but I'll definitely update our Discord once we have that closed today, and we'll just see what happens. Again, BOSON's kind of coming down a little bit more than it was. So just remember that sometimes altcoins can react more quickly than, where's my SNSY at? Sometimes it can react more quickly than what Bitcoin does. We're still getting a little bit of rejection there on Titan. I mean, I think it's interesting just to look at this before ending the stream, just because or the recording, just because we want to see. I'll just open a new SNSY here. We want to see if any are reacting strongly to what Bitcoin's doing, or if they're just all kind of holding. Yeah, it looks like, well, no, I think that's about where SNSY was. Anyway, yeah, we'll see. I'll post an update later. We'll see what happens. Okay, y'all have a good day. Thank you for joining, and we'll talk soon.